Building apps with AI coding, vibe coding, however you want to describe the phenomenon, this is one of the most optimal use cases for leveraging AI right now in 2025, going into 2026. And it's also what these tech behemoths from OpenAI to Anthropic to all of these platforms coming about, these AI copilots and AI agent platforms have really emphasized and prioritized in creating tools that can help people, individuals, companies, teams be able to build software products with AI. In this video, I want to go over the blueprint and the framework that I've put together for building MVPs, leveraging completely AI co-pilots and AI agents. So please hit the like button, turn on your notifications, and subscribe so that we can get right into this. So building apps with AI. If you have been following my channel, then you could check out a video that I put out actually a couple of months ago on the first mobile app that I completely built using these AI platforms. And since then, it's interesting. The process that I use, starting with ChatGPT and ending by deploying onto Apple Developer in the case of mobile apps or Vercel in the case of building a web app, is actually very much still the same. It's still a very similar process that I'm using. And since then, a lot of new tools, a lot of new models have come out. So, for example, we now have a bunch of open source models from companies like Chinese-based companies. So Alibaba, they have their Quen model, Quen 3 Coder. We have also Coder, a Qoder, which is they're really a competitor to Cursor. We have Kimi, the Kimi K2 model, which some are saying is state of the art now and actually surpasses the closed source Anthropic models like Sonnet. And we have just in general many, many options for going about coding with AI and being able to build software through prompting. Now, the reason why the process that I use and what I propose, which I have this framework here, is still very similar, is because it's not enough to just be able to prompt for the code. How are you able to get from zero, from your idea, flesh it out, validate it, build it, be able to track it and track version change, be able to save your work, and be able to seamlessly deploy it to a site or the platform that it can be hosted in the case of an Apple developer account. And the infrastructure that's being provided and the resources along with that, they're extremely important. And so typically, I'm starting with ChatGPT. I may use Manus in some cases for additional research, but I like to use ChatGPT in order to flesh out what I'm thinking, get my thoughts out. I use the voice tool, the ChatGPT desktop voice tool here, and I'll speak into the mic, and it'll write in voice to text, kind of what I'm thinking, help me get the screens, the prompts for the screens that I want to use to build the app. Once I have those screens, I'll take it to UI UX Pilot to now go through the design process. Hey Boss is an alternative to all of this. So when I think about Hey Boss, I think about really beginners. Like if you're completely new to vibe coding and if you don't even want to get that deep into the space, I recommend the Hey Boss, ideally for more so for websites, but it does apps as well. You can build web apps on Hey Boss, uh, but it mostly does it for you. It's meant to really be turnkey. You still kind of have to do a lot of that work on your own towards the second half because you may deal with bugs, you may deal with issues testing it and getting it fully functional. But it does a lot of the work for you, especially when starting out, and it's very user friendly. So I look at HeyBoss as an alternative to this process that we're talking about right now. In the case of the web, right, and mobile is a little bit different, but assuming that you kind of go down the path of leveraging these different platforms, and I highly encourage it It's a lot of fun using them. And I believe part of the appeal of these vibe code platforms is that process of creation. If we were to compare vibe coding to, shout out to Rick Rubin, the legendary producer. He someone who's been a real proponent of the space, and he calls vibe coding the punk rock of coding. So what punk rock was to rock, given the lower barrier of entry and sort of being able to learn a few chords and then get to producing, is kind of what vibe coding is, and that it creates a whole new sort of genre, if you will, in this space. And but then the opportunity to build all sorts of tools and products and subcultures that simply didn't exist before. And so you take the prompts for the screens that you have, you create a project overview, and then in that it'll include the screens that you have to then uh, paste into the platform UX. Paste into the platform UX pilot. The UX pilot, you can create your designs, and then you'll be able to now have screens that are specific to what you have envisioned. So the aesthetic will now be easier to tailor when you're actually building with one of the AI co-pilots. And so from UX pilot, depending on whether you're building a web app or a mobile app, that you'll deal with when you're fleshing it out with ChatGPT. Um, in the case of a web app, you're going to go with Lovable, right? Or you're going to go with Bolt. Both of these are great options. I would say that typically I've liked Lovable more for this kind of thing because I simply believe it's faster to use. But Bolt has also continued to elevate what they've built, and so it's significantly better than when it first dropped. And sometimes I'll actually just go straight from UI UX pilot to cursor. And if I go straight to cursor, then I just start prompting it and building it out from there. I think one of the advantages to beginning with the Lovables or the Bolts is that they have native integrations with the Supabase backend. Supabase is where you can store your data, um, where you can also create and handle authentication, and so you can get some of those things in place in a more automated kind of way. And so that's why sometimes it is great to start with the Lovable or the Bolt step first, and then once you have sort of that app already kind of, let's say, 70% of the way there, save it to GitHub, which I look at GitHub again kind of like a Google Drive for your code files or for your projects, coding projects. And then once it's saved, now download that repository into a platform like Cursor. So I have here, this is one of the projects that I'm working on. It's called Dropcard, and it's the first app that I'm taking. It's a mobile app that I'm really taking to market, and I've been refining. It's a contact management app that I've been working on for some time now, and so Dropcard is something that I actually went straight from UX Pilot to working on Dropcard, and so that was I actually went straight from UX Pilot to Cursor with Dropcard. But again, you could use something like Rourke to begin building, and then take it to Cursor next if need be. So now Lovable, Bolt, Rourke, and then Vibecode.app as the alternative to Rourke. Vibecode.app has been doing some really great work. They actually just built a web component to their platform where you can use the Open AI codex and the Gemini CLI and Claude Code, which have become very popular coding platforms directly connected to the major closed source tech companies, Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. um, Vibe Code, really, it's mobile app platform, a mobile app that builds mobile apps. But again, the one of the gaps for a lot of these AI copilot and AI agent platforms is, can you get it from zero to MVP? The pain point that a lot of people feel with vibe coding is that you can get 80% there, 85% there, but that last 10, 15%, you're dealing with so many bugs, you're dealing with oftentimes a lot of fundamental issues in the app. And those kinds of challenges oftentimes may have needed to be really fleshed out in the beginning through product requirement document or a project overview, rules in the platform. And something like a vibe code app, right, or a rule doesn't provide the ability to create a plan that you can have stored in your coding files, and then guide the AI to code. I believe months from now, as the tech gets more intelligent, and you can just tell it to prompt it to create something that it may not need as much direction, and so then it'll be easier to actually bring to life what you're thinking. But until then, and as we are as the space is continuing to mature, there is a lot of skill that goes into actually being able to get this from 0 to 100, and so then it helps to be able to leverage something like a cursor in order to work through challenges and frustrations that come about. And so then you have the cursor step, as I mentioned, whether you're dealing with a web app or in case of what we're talking about here, a mobile app. This is Dropcard. The way it works is you can create different cards, and then these cards are business cards. It's basically a business card app. People can scan your QR code here. You also have these preview cards as well, where when you click on them, it'll take you to this web profile URL that when people scan your card, they're able to now get a rundown of your information, and then they can save it to their phone. You can share it via text message. It's also attached to a profile that you create. If you sign in, you're then able to actually change the information directly from the web profile URL. And then it's also a platform where you can scan other people's cards, business cards, physical business cards, and get their contact information directly from. It'll use AI to do the scanning and put their information onto your phone in the contact section. And there's a feature that's involved with it to where you can actually take selfies. There's a take selfie feature. Uh, uh, Something that I noticed happening when I would go to conferences and when I I'm at networking events with people who I would say real networkers, like people who I see at a lot of different kinds of events in different cities. Like there's some people who I might be in a conference in Atlanta, and then a couple months later or a year later or whatever, I go to a completely different conference in Miami, and I see the same person. I notice a phenomenon where that person, when they're networking with somebody or they meet somebody new, they'll do this thing where they'll take a selfie with that person and then text the selfie with their name or information as a way to put a face to the name for just recognition. Because you at these events you may meet a lot of people, and you may be someone who's always meeting people. So this take selfie feature was inspired by that, to where you could literally take a selfie and it'll save it to the phone, so you're able to put a name to the face. So you get a certain amount of that feature in this. And then we're also building out an AI chat where this AI chat will be connected to your contacts, to where if you meet somebody at an event and you see that they have a particular profession, and then you have notes attached to what that conversation was, that AI chat will already be built in with a context that now you can communicate with the AI on what that conversation was. And then this AI chat is actually connected to a desktop platform that I'm building called Agent OS. And so you also be able to have, do that communication there on the web platform as well. That has a lot of just business context baked into it. And so that's kind of where things are going with this contact management platform, Dropcard. And one of the apps that I've built, mobile app that I built and submitted to the Apple developer right now on test flight, testing it out. And so in the case of mobile apps, that's the road you're taking. In the case of web apps are a little bit more straightforward in that you don't have any sort of approval process. Once you've completed it, you simply deploy it to a platform like Vercel, and on Vercel, you'll get a you'll get a domain from Vercel, and you can then attach your own custom domain to it. Domain may be hosted on Squarespace or Bluehost or wherever, and that's how you'll get your app to production that way. And so that is the roadmap, right, for building apps with AI. From there, the piece is attaching a paywall, right? I don't have that here, and that'll be video for another day, and we'll also be going more granular into some of these aspects, like how do you create the back end, how do you prevent some of the challenges around um, you know dealing with bugs and testing and so on and so forth. But paywall, if this is something that you are selling, whether one off or subscription, for mobile apps, you have Superwall, for example, which is really great. And then for web apps, there's a platform, Lemon Squeezy, that's great to check out specifically for SaaS platforms. And if it's like a one-time fee, or if it's a subscription but not dealing with users, and you can actually just go and straight use Stripe, directly connect Stripe to your code. So there you have it, building apps with AI. This is a space that is still budding, um, and it's the future of software development. More people will be building apps, and so I look at it like you want to get in now to this concept. I would go as far to say that apps will become the next info products, in that the ease of doing them will become to the point where just everybody is leveraging it. And I think just like the ability to create is so special. So of course you have the monetary side of wanting to make money through apps, but even just like that process of creating and turning an idea that you had into bringing it to life, and the fact that this wasn't possible 2 years ago, right? And this is something where if you're building an app, mobile app, web app, or what have you, 10 years ago would have taken you years to do what can be done in weeks now. So there you have it, building apps with AI. Take a stab at it. There'll be more videos on this kind of thing, and we're working on a community around this as well. So you can stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time.